I love Sandler, man. It's hard to deconstruct this, but I mean, again, look at the sleeve.
Yeah, definitely. Over the knuckles, that's something you don't see too often, hey?
That's a wizard sleeve.
Yeah.
I think it's the perfect look for a comedian.
He's a big fan of Hoka, yeah.
What's that?
It's a shoe brand. He's known for being very ugly and
Hawk
bulky.
Tua shoe?
Hawk Tua, yeah.
A Hawk Tua shoe.
Hawk Tua shoe.
Gentlemen, if you have an oblong face, if your face is narrow and long, you want to wear a cutaway collar like that, just straight across. That's perfect for him. Hey, this is LGFG Fashion House Style Deconstruction, aka Smash and Fashion with Dimitri and Revo.
Ooh.
Here we go, judging
All right,
suits.
so we go with the funny man who's known for wearing a lot of suits.
Wow, that's an interesting choice to go with Sandler, hey? So this is a very high-end suit, but there are some fundamental issues I would like to address. Would you like to start?
Well, first of all, it's too big from everywhere.
Okay.
Sleeves are too long.
Yep.
Pants are too long, slightly too wide. Shirt seems as well big. But I think that's his style.
Collar's too big.
Yeah, that's the way he wears everything.
I don't mind the size, if you want some comfort, but the collar, again, so on this one, he's got the very large medium spread collar.
Yeah.
He's got an oblong face. Okay.
All right, yeah.
Yeah, so you want to have a cutaway for that. So this is a cutaway. This is a perfect example of a cutaway collar face. We have a chart. We can maybe even put it up of the ideal collar to wear for your face shape.
Yeah.
And his face shape begs to get a widespread collar. So that's one thing.
So what would that do if you would
Well, because you have an oblong face. Like if you have a narrow collar, what it does is it elongates it even more. It creates this like, for example, if you have a diamond face, so you're short on the chin, you want a longer collar to balance it out. Sometimes having a picture is one thing, but putting a nice frame around it really changes the outlook as well.
Yeah.
Or like a window, when you frame it differently, it looks a little bit different, right? So you create balance.
Yeah.
And it's all perception, right? Like balance is all about perception. So you can look at something and people that are OCD notice it very well. Like if something's not aligned on their desk, they want to make sure it's a perpendicular angles or parallel angles. And so in this case, because his face is narrow and long, what you don't want to do is you don't want to have a narrow and long collar to accentuate that even more. What you want is a cutaway collar. What that means is that it's like the collar is like more straight across.
Correct.
And then it actually makes your face, frames it in such a way that it balances it out. It doesn't add to the oblong length. It balances it out. So it just looks natural and it looks like it belongs.
Okay.
Sometimes, like you look at something and you get a little dissonance, like something's off about that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And in this picture, for example, right?
Yeah. Well, to me, I mean, I'm looking at it from a tailor's perspective, right? So change that collar, man. I love Sandler. He's hilarious. He's awesome. I don't think he's a guy that cares too much about fashion stuff. He's obviously a very casual guy.
Yeah.
But he's also Adam Sandler, and for those of us who are fans, we don't want to see him schlepping around.
Yeah.
We want to see him well put together. This is fine. This is significantly better than what I would expect on the first picture of Adam Sandler in a suit. Just again, knowing that his demeanor is usually very casual, I would expect him to just almost wear suits in an ironic, facetious way to kind of say I don't wear suits. He's not doing that here.
Yeah.
But if you're gonna go this way, then let's just tidy a little bit. I would definitely shorten that sleeve. He's also got a forward pinch shoulder, so you can see there's a there's a gap there on the right shoulder. It means his shoulders are forward pitch,
and it's a little too wide on the shoulders as well.
Well, so he has to do that, right? Because the reason he has to do it is because if this is getting pretty technical, but if you're a forward pitch shoulder and you're getting a suit in the correct shoulder size, it would get very tight.
Yeah,
because you're stretching it like forward beyond where it needs to be stretched.
Correct.
So the way you fix it is you either get a shoulder that's a little bit wider, which is what he's doing here, and then of course you see the lines pop up in front of this, like sort of the armpit area, sort of like to the right of the pec here, left of the pec here. The other solution, of course, you get a bespoke made suit, and then you adjust for a forward pitch shoulder. It fixes that pattern, so you can get a shoulder that's the appropriate width.
Yeah.
And this is, I'll give you an example. Like Jordan Peterson has that configuration as well. And so the reason he looks, in my opinion, so fantastic in the suits we make for him is because we make the correct shoulder width, but then we adjust for the forward pitch. So it's both comfortable and it's correctly tailored to the body, and it doesn't have that little slope in there, right?
And mostly that's not available for off the rack.
Oh, it's impossible off the rack
Yeah.
because and this figuration, the forward pitch shoulder figuration, is becoming more common as people spend more and more time in front of the computer leaning hunch forward. Yeah,
Yeah.
So you get the forward neck and the forward pitch shoulder, and you've probably seen a lot of older gentlemen today, like guys for the last 10, 15 years have been sitting in front of the computer. So I'm probably seeing 30% of all suits on guys that are 50 plus having the forward shoulder, and I'm sure you see it as well.
I do it. Yeah, it's the most common figuration to add on.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Like it just sort of appears in the human body and. You kind of work it backwards because you can look at historical records, and I've talked to other tailors about this that are much older. They say they used to never see that.
Oh, yeah.
And now it's just so common. And again, it's just guys sitting hunched forward on their phone.
Yeah.
Yep.
And, well.
Like we're doing. But other than that, man, you know what? Like you fix up that sleeve a little bit, you shorten up those pants, and you're good to go.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Great fabric overall.
Oh, yeah. Oh, boy.
This is what you were expecting, yeah?
Yeah. Oh, boy. Yeah, and that's what I thought I would see. Sandler's also a bit fatter in this picture. I wonder if he was doing something for a movie.
Or he was just enjoying life.
I love Sandler, man. It's hard to deconstruct this, but I mean, again, look at the sleeve.
Yeah, definitely. Over the knuckles, that's something you don't see too often, hey?
That's a wizard sleeve.
Yeah. And super wide. And what do you think about having the shirt tucked out while wearing a suit?
Look, if you're gonna do that sort of like, hey, I'm not a suit guy, but I'm wearing a suit thing, why not?
Yeah.
You know, it's a comedic look. I mean, not funny, but like he's a comedian. Like he can pull that off. You know, when we did our photo shoot with Russell Peters, he wore the shirt tucked out, had a cigar in his mouth, and he looked fantastic.
Yeah.
It's got that charm to it, right? I don't mind that so much. But again, looking at the sleeve length, the sleeve width, the pants width, the pants length, these are fairly simple things to adjust.
Yeah.
And again, I don't like deconstructing Adam Sandler because I'm a big fan. I think he's just wonderful.
Yeah.
And I don't think he cares that much about this stuff.
Probably not.
You know?
Because he's known for going for comfort.
Yeah.
And comfort for him is stuff that's maybe a little bit baggier. And maybe since he came up in the 90s, you know, that's the style you kind of stick with.
Well, I think that whenever I watch a movie, I think that a part of the persona in the characters I see has to do with the actor's persona. And a lot of Sandler's characters are a little bit sloppy.
Yeah.
Intentionally.
Yeah.
You know, I'm thinking, Billy Madison, I'm thinking The Waterboy, I'm thinking Big Daddy. Like these are all sort of sloppy characters.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And so part of that he brings with him, that sort of schlep kind of an appeal, which is fine, which is great. But so again, you see that because it's coming from the persona of the actor himself, the performer. He's got a little that slovenliness, that sort of charming slovenliness, right?
Yeah.
And he can pull that off. You know, if you're not a famous, ultra successful, talented guy, and women look at you and you're dressed like that, then you just don't get it.
Yeah.
You can get away with a lot being successful, famous, just having a profundity in some field that makes you especially precocious in it. You know.
For sure.
All right, the next one is a bit more recent. I think it's from last year, maybe this year.
Love the shoes, by the way. A lot of people don't like the runners with the suit. I think it's the perfect look for a comedian.
He's a big fan of Hoka. Yeah.
What's that?
It's a shoe brand that he's known for being very ugly and bulky.
Hawk Tua shoe?
Hawk Tua, yeah.
The Hawk Tua shoe.
Hawk Tua shoe.
Okay.
And they have all kind of funky colors, so he went with red.
You look, a lot of people would say, but Dimitri, you're a tailor. You can't have shoes like that with a suit. I'd say, okay, fine. But if you're a comedian, what a better way to add a little bit of personality to your look when you are forced, and probably he is forced to wear a suit to an event like this, again, to pay respect to the institution, but that's not his style, right?
Yeah.
So he's gonna mix it up and throw a little bit of a twist in there.
Yeah.
And fine, man. Let's go for it. Why not? Again, the suit's fine. It's long sleeve.
Definitely the best sleeve length we've seen on him.
Is that a suit or are the jacket and pants matching, or is it just the color that makes it look like they're not?
I think they're not matching.
Yeah, if they're not matching, then what we have is a self-stripe suit jacket, a self-stripe jacket. And so there is a chart that we have. We have a book about how to match patterns, unlike ties and things like that, ties and shirts and jackets and pants. And what you don't do is you don't wear a striped jacket as a separate piece unless it's a double-breasted jacket. So, and again, he's matching the shirt, the tie, and the jacket to the same color with navy on navy. Let's say a navy on navy pants and jackets don't work. You want to have a color.
Yeah.
You don't want to match the colors. So, for example, if you're wearing a navy jacket, you want to wear it with a gray pant, not even a black pant because they look very close.
Yeah.
Or you go with a lighter pant like an olive or a taupe.
Yeah.
And then the other thing again is navy jackets are perfectly fine, but you don't wear a navy jacket on a self stripe or any kind of stripe unless it's double breasted as a separate piece. Okay.
It's a full suit. I have another picture of the suit.
Okay.
Well, if it's a full suit, fine.
Then it's fine.
Yeah. Well, we can still include that. I mean, yeah.
But it's a different.
Oh, look at the collar. So this is actually Henry, not the same event because the wife is wearing a totally different dress, different shirt, different tie, everything, right?
Yeah.
It's a different event. It may be the same jacket, but now he's matching. Yeah, but now he's matching it with the suit pants. Yeah. Look at the collar, cutaway collar, perfect choice. Look how perfectly that frames his face.
Yeah.
Right away, you get that sort of balance. The dissonance is gone. Like that's how it's supposed to be worn. So again, gentlemen, if you have an oblong face, if your face is narrow and long, you want to wear a cutaway collar like that, the straight across. That's perfect for him. He's hiding the length of his jacket sleeve well with the hand in the pocket. So this looks like a great suit.
That's one of his best fitting suits for sure.
Yeah, it's fine. I can't see anything, below the kneecap, whatever. But from that angle, it's a great suit. And I think in this case, he definitely had a little bit of advice on this, like the shirt collar. See, the thing about a cutaway shirt is not something you easily find off the rack.
Yeah.
Like you can, but it's not typical. Typically off the rack, collars are going to be buttoned down, narrow spread, and semi-cutaway, but very, very rarely a full cutaway. So it's not unlikely that he went to some tailor and he's like, Adam, you must wear this shirt. And he's like, okay. And that's a good choice.
He nailed it.
He did. And I really aspire to make suits for Adam Sandler. That would be one of my Mount Rushmore of clients.
Yeah.
Because I just think he's fantastic. And a lot of people sort of talk about his movies as like they're being stupid. And that's what I love about his movies is they let me unplug and just enjoy.
Yeah.
And maybe when we deliver this nice wardrobe here to Rob Schneider, maybe we'll get a nice referral. That would be a killer referral. Amazing.
Definitely.
Yeah.
We'll make a lot of fun stuff for that guy.
Revo, do you want to wrap it up for Sandler? Tell us your overall opinion.
I mean, Sandler, so he's known being a funny guy, known for not having the best sense in fashion or clothing, and that's his thing. So I think he carried it on with his suits, although now with the older age, he's kind of paying a little bit more attention what he is wearing when he has to put on a suit. So overall, what we expected, everything is a little big and baggy, but other than that, something that you would expect from a guy like that.
I personally love it. When a comedian ages, they start to become more refined and elegant, and you see this quite a lot. Yeah. And the reason I love it is, when you think about a comedian, what they do is they notice things that other people don't notice, and they make fun of things that can be very serious things. But in order to effectively make fun of things that are very serious things, you need to have an insight into those things. Like you need to have a certain nuanced understanding. And so, as comedians age, a lot of times they have very intelligent social commentary.
Yeah.
Because they are looking at the culture and they are looking at the events and they could be political events and things like that. And they're seeing them from an angle of nuance where sometimes the funny thing is actually very serious, but they admit to the serious when they bring it to the light of being funny.
Yeah.
And so as the comedian ages, they become quite wise. Like I remember George Carlin, man, some of his last few specials and like they were so insightful, so historically enlightened, so
still accurate to this day, or like very on topic.
But also he started, and he went with a sort of turtleneck entrepreneur look, but he still looked refined and elegant. And especially as he aged, he started to have the sort of a more refined, elegant opinion where he's like, look, this is still funny, but let's look at the seriousness of the situation, right?
Yeah.
So I like to see a guy like Sandler, who obviously has incredible insight into society. He has to be that funny to understand the nuance of social constructs, the social contracts even that we don't negotiate, but they're negotiated for us.
Yeah.
And then now that he can be older and wiser, and he is full of wisdom, he can have that same presentation to himself that would also allow us to take him more seriously at his word.
Yeah.
And actually pay respect to the very deep wisdom I'm sure he has about, well, hey, Jerry Seinfeld's a really good example of that.
Yeah.
Now, there's a guy that really dresses eloquently.
Yeah.
And has some really sharp societal takes.
Definitely.
Right?
Yeah.
I could say the same for Eddie Murphy. That's a guy that's become a lot more eloquent over the years. He wore the leather suits on his early specials, amazing stuff.
Yeah.
You see Chris Rock dressing very eloquently these days. These are not small things to overlook. These are actually very important insights into the growth of a person, the growth of the individual, and their ability to move their commentary from sort of unplug your brain and laugh into now going like, okay, I know what I've been doing this whole time. I've been trolling the society, but let's very seriously look at what's really happening.
Yeah.
Schneider's doing that right now too with the whole political environment.
Yeah.
And so there's a wardrobe for Rob Schneider hanging back here. That's another guy that's again, if you bump into him at the airport, he's a very eloquently dressed man.
Yeah. Makes sense. Good stuff.